Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? My name is Brittany Meisner, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the Lakewood Board of Education. On behalf of the entire Board of Education, we welcome you and thank you for taking the time to join us either here or online. The Lakewood Local Schools are proud to serve 6 municipalities: the Village of Hebron, the Village of Buckeye Lake, Bowling Green Township, Franklin Township, Licking Township, and Union Township. Representatives from some of these entities are here tonight, and we look forward to hearing from them in the second half of our program. Before we proceed any further, if you will take a moment, stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Behind me, you'll see the agenda, and we will do our best to follow that this evening. But now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce my fellow board members, and when I state your name, please stand. Vice President John Lynch, Dave Lohr, Brandon Salyer, Jeremy Weekly. It is a true honor to work with these gentlemen. Each one of them is extremely dedicated to our schools and community, focused on constant improvement and progress for the district. So thank you so much. We're thrilled that you've taken the time to join us because this state of the schools is important to us for many reasons, but it is an important part of our current strategic plan, specifically in the area of communication and trust. We have so much to look forward to and to be proud of here at Lakewood, and it is an honor to share those things with you this evening. And to do that, I would like to introduce Dr. Mark Glykoff, Superintendent of Lakewood Local Schools.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Meisner. So thank you, and first of all, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's coming tonight, and thanks to the folks who are watching us on on Facebook Live. I just want to acknowledge Mrs. Meisner and the rest of our board members. I want to thank them. We're very fortunate here in the Lakewood Local Schools to have great leadership and folks who are really vested in their schools and in their community. So we're very fortunate, and I thank all of them for their work and their dedication to our students. And I want to also acknowledge many of my administrators who are here tonight. They do a lot of the work that really are the responsibility and the achievement and the things that we have accomplished over this last year. And so without them, a lot of these things do not work. So thank you to all of them, and I know many of them are here tonight. So I want to take a few moments and kind of really go through the state of the schools here and kind of give you kind of a look at, this past year, and just to kind of give some of the things that have been highlights of this past year, and just put some of those up there, and many of those probably look familiar to you, from Intel and updated facilities and improving our perceptions of the work. So there's been a lot of things that we have done and accomplished, and those are some of the main themes. But we always start with our mission, and Mrs. Meisner spoke about this. Our mission, which is, community of learners, inspiring each student to grow and to achieve and to explore. And then, of course, our vision, our mission, and our core values. And I'm not going to go through and read that, but later on in this, I will speak about our strategic plan. And this is elements of our current strategic plan, and we are embarking on looking at this and refreshing this for the future. So these are our current mission and vision and core values. But when I speak to staff and I speak to community, I also speak about another vision. And that is to be that destination and educational choice for families in our area. And I truly believe we can be that and are that. But it's interesting now as we talk about, Central Ohio and Licking County in particular, it's not only families in our area, but also families that are not in our area, who may be coming to our area sometime in the future. So I think it's even more crucial now as we start to look at this strategic plan. But why do I believe that we can be that destination of choice? And I think there's many reasons for that. And I speak about this phrase. We are a big school offerings in a small school setting. That is significant. A lot of the families that I speak to talk about the small district, our kids knowing our teachers very well, our teachers knowing kids and families, that family togetherness. Of course, our programming. We talk about the great technology and workforce readiness skills, and I'm going to speak a little bit about that in more depth as we go into this. But also just who we are as our area, our 110 square miles of our district. And we talked about the 6 municipalities that we spread around and the things that we have offerings for folks in terms of housing and opportunities. So one of the big areas that I'm going to keep speaking about is just this past year, and it was about a year ago now, we did a comprehensive district community survey. We reached out to all of our stakeholders, and this was very similar to what we did in 2018. And just to give you a little comparison, in 2018, we had nearly 700 responses. When we did this last year, we nearly had 900 responses. And you'll also notice that last year we got a significant number of our parents also. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those results in a variety of our areas. But one of the things I want to kind of highlight is this. It's the community perceptions of our work being done by different groups in our community from 2018 to 2022. And you'll notice that increase of those, of the significance. The community perceptions have increased. And also the perceptions of the work and our personnel have also increased. The climate in our schools, being a school-centered leaders in community. Those are all things I think is a credit to many of the administrators in this room, as well as our staff and of course our students. So I'm really, really pleased and honored about that. So I will frame a lot of the work around our 5 large goals as a school district. I'm not going to read this screen, but I'm going to go into each of these goals and speak about some of the work that we've completed in them, but also some of the work that we're looking to do as we continue on into the future. We're going to start with goal 1, classroom instruction. Truly our core work here in the Lakewood Local Schools. And really, the improve and focus classroom instruction is the big part of that. So what have we done in that area? Let's look at that. And so we work around 2 great principles when we talk about what our student achievement is all about. Number 1, progress. We want every student to grow at least a year in each year of their schooling. As a parent, I want that for my kids, and I think all the parents here in Lakewood want that. How are they going to grow during that course of that school year? The second is getting quality instruction, and that every student is going to get taught and assessed in a manner that's at grade level, content area, and at the rigor, that cognitive level that those standards are at. So in September, we received our state report card. Comes out on a yearly basis. Again, the last few years with the pandemic have been a little bit interesting, but this is actually based on a full year, the last year of 2021 or 21-22. Very pleased with these results, particularly when you look at progress and you look at gap closing, achieving 5 stars out of 5 stars. That's the highest we could get. That means progress is something we've done to exceed that marker, as well as gap closing, meaning are we closing the gap in achievement with some of our marginalized subgroups. So I'm pleased to see that. Achievement, graduation, early literacy, not 5 stars, but certainly those are areas that we want to continue to focus on and work. We're not satisfied and content. We need to continue to go forward and continue to grow, and we certainly have areas to grow in. But let me dig into some of these. So the achievement tests. Our students take tests from 3rd grade on through the high school. There's actually 20 of those tests that they take on a yearly basis. 19 of those 20 improved from 21 to 22. So from the last year, we had improvement in nearly all of those, 19 of the 20. But let's dig in on that a little bit more, because obviously the couple of years past have been a little bit different. Hybrid learning, we've had students leaving, we had shutdown in March of 20. A lot of different things happening there. But if we go back to our most recent pre-pandemic full year, which was 18-19, we have 8 of those 20 tests at a higher rate than that year. So we're starting to get back to that pre-pandemic time. Do we still have area to grow? Absolutely. But we're moving in the right direction and we're getting back to that pre-pandemic time. And that's big. That is really significant. Because if you see anything in the newspapers or nationally, the national tests are showing that kids have fallen behind significantly in many of our markers. We've got kids back in 8 of our 20 tests back higher than they were before. Some of the accomplishments. During this time, we've also focused in on trying to extend the school year, to be honest. Summertime enrichment. And we had 120 of our students involved in some sort of summer intervention or credit recovery during the course of the last summer. We also had an additional 183 of our youngsters involved in a Kids Read Now program. Mrs. Pickering did a lot of the legwork on that, and this was a great opportunity for our kids to be able to get books and do some work at home and do some reading that really continued the learning through that June and July and August months. Last year, curriculum work, foreign language, as well as our social studies. We did a lot of curriculum work on there. And then this year, we're starting our English and language arts work. And that is a big, big lift. Piloting a mathematical modeling and reasoning course. And then right now, in the process of really building a more comprehensive engineering pathway for our students. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into this. But I think when you look at accomplishments and you think about our instruction, you have to look at our outputs. And what better output than our students who graduate? And I think there's some significant, really big highlighted numbers here. The one I want to look at first, scholarships and grants. Our class of 2022 earned over $1.6 million in scholarships and grants for college. That is a huge number. That's a very big number. And we should be proud of that. Because not all of our kids even applied to college, no less to get that. So that is a huge number. Another great number here, down at the other end towards me right now, 493 credits earned through College Credit Plus. These are by high schoolers. Many of them are earning them right in this building. Take it from somebody who has 2 daughters in college right now. Earning your college credits at this cost is great. Because the cost once they go off to college is a whole lot higher. So I'll tell you what, that is big. We offer those opportunities for our kids. And then the last one I want to focus in on is the lowest one down here, industry credentials. We offer 24 different, but 201 total credentials were earned by this class. I'm going to speak a lot about industry credentials in a bit. What are some of those things that we offer kids? These are the things that are offered right within our school itself. Many of these businesses and corporations want their employees to earn and get once they get hired. We're giving it to them before they even graduate from high school. Lean Six Sigma, nationally recognized. We've got kids earning that. They're yellow belts, and I believe they're green belts. So they're earning them right here within the school, working on problem solving and so forth. That's a significant piece. We're one of probably the very few schools that offer that to our kids. And again, we talk about the Innovation Center. I mean, that's really an area for creativity and critical thinking, collaboration. It's an area that we continue to focus in on because that's an area that we're going to really concentrate on in terms of critical thinking and STEM skills, and I'll speak more about that. And again, the offerings, advanced placement courses, College Credit Plus courses I spoke about, as well as honors courses. We have a full comprehensive opportunities for kids to really get and advance at the levels they want. Segue to our second goal. And Mrs. Meisner mentioned this one early on, our communications. And really to build trust and confidence through communication. How are we going to do that? We do that in so many different ways across this district. These are the manners just in words of how we do it. And I'm sure we communicate in a whole lot different other ways, but these are the ones we could think of quickly. Why is this goal so important? It's critically important because it's important for us to be able to tell our community what's happening in our schools and what things are we working on, what things can we continue to improve upon. And we also need to listen. And what we heard when we did some surveying on this is, where does our community get information about our schools? District social media, email, their children, and teacher communications. And so it's important for us to know that those are the areas that they significantly get a lot of data from. So we need to make sure that all of our data sources are good and they're sound. So as we did that, we said, well, what can we continue to look at? You know, obviously our website. And I'll be honest, we're going to really revamp our website over the next 6 months. We're going to really make it a little more interactive and make it much more meaningful to our parents and folks who come to that site. We do it obviously through social media. We still send out a periodic district newsletter for those folks who appreciate that getting that written word, as well as our local press releases. But I think these are two good metrics of perceptions of our communication that I think we want the community to hear. First one here, what's your level of satisfaction with the general communications from the district? Comparing 2018 to 2022, you'll see that percentage in the good and the great column has increased. Is it to a level we want it to be? No, I would hope that everybody would think it was good or great. But it's improving. And when communicating with a Lakewood local school staff member or administrator, what's that experience been like? You'll notice the improvement there in terms of a positive interaction. Those are significant. And that's a lot of credit to the administrators and the teachers who are in our school district. Obviously, we have to communicate our finances. And I feel we've done that really well, and I think part of that is passing a successful renewal levy last November. And we want to thank our Lakewood community once again for that, with a 52% yes vote on that. That was significant because we renewed 2 levies together to really extend it to a 10-year renewal cycle. So we appreciate that, but thankfully, you know, they heard what we were trying to do and shared that at the polls. So we go to our third district goal, really providing a safe environment. We don't have to watch the news for even 10 or 15 minutes to realize how important that is for a school in a school setting. And so it's something that we take very, very seriously. You know, so some of the things we tried to do is do this. Really, safety is always a priority. At the beginning of this year, we looked at some of the protocols and the procedures we were doing internally in our schools, excuse me, and really refocused some of them to make sure that we were doing the right things and doing the proper things. We also are trying to keep on side of that is the social emotional side. How do we support our students? How do we support each other as staff members? And so some of the good work that we've done is really had some common expectations about how we have our building advisory councils, our opportunities for our staff to speak to us and talk about the things that are happening. Positive behavioral intervention supports, PBIS, really how we support our kids within the schools and how to reward them for those great behaviors. Employee engagement survey. So after we did the survey last year, the community-wide survey, came out with a subsequent one with our staff, followed up with that, and it ended up, I invited folks to talk with me individually. I think I spoke with 20 individual staff members at the end of last school year. Right now I'm engaged in some listening sessions with our different schools and with our different classified groups. And then we're starting just this month talking about some of the school safety pillars, the big pillars that we address when we talk about school safety. And we're sending that out to our parents over the next few weeks. And one of the big accomplishments that we just got word on was this, is a safety grant that we were awarded from the state of Ohio. We had applied for it back in November, and we got word just a couple weeks back that we were awarded that. That's a significant grant. where we're talking a lot about the procedures and protocols. This is now for actual hardware and things that we can put into our schools to make them even safer. So $400,000 spread amongst our 4 schools. What's that going to go to? Some of the critical elements, doors and entryways, and how to make those safe. School surveillance, exterior lighting, window safety, things that we need with our schools to really make sure that they're safe and secure. So district goal number 4, our facilities. This has been an area that has been very busy over the last several months. This has been probably, as you look at that, and we talk a lot about Hebron Elementary. Why is this goal important? Well, it's important for many reasons. The 2 I put up here is that our high-quality instruction needs good instructional spaces. It needs it. And we need to also continue to earn that trust from our community to say, hey, we're maintaining our spaces and we're doing them well. So last summer, a very busy summer for all of us here in the district. Big work. Built a connecting corridor in Jackson between Jackson A main building and our annex. So now our students can go freely back and forth between those 2 areas. And that school houses 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We also upgraded, and now the entire middle school has heating and cooling. And so that was great work that we did. We did that through largely by our federal grants that we received. And then obviously, staying in the middle school, those couple of pictures there to the right, we took our auditorium, which really was underutilized, and made those into some better instructional spaces. Band room, multi-purpose room, really can be broken up into 3 different classrooms. So we're pleased with how that's come out. So great work that we got accomplished. So obviously one of the big things that we've been focusing in on for the last year has been decommissioning Hebron Elementary School. 110 years old. As right now we're in the process of preparing, we're now in that last semester with Hebron, of preparing our students and our staff and our families for that as we move them over here to the Lancer campus, over to Jackson B, which will now be called Lakewood Elementary School. It'll be great to have all of our students on one campus, the efficiencies there, all of our students in climate-controlled settings. And if you've spent any time in Hebron Elementary over the last any time, we need climate control. It has serious heating and cooling issues. But we also need to remember, this is a school that has served this district for 110 years. And so we do need to properly recognize it and acknowledge it as we move out of there. So we've got a lot of stuff to do with Hebron over the next 6 months. But I think it's important to stop here for a minute. Because yes, we're going to be moving out of Hebron, but we can't lose sight of what this community and our students and our families deserve. And that is a new preschool through 5th grade building for our youngsters. It's truly what we need for the best educational areas and the best opportunities as we move forward. And our 5th and final goal really is engaging our stakeholders. And I spoke to the board about this over a year ago and said, I think it's time for us really to start looking at strategic planning. And I think we're really at a ripe time as we do that. This is an opportunity for all of us to come together as a community and really look at what does our future hold and how do we best prepare and shape our schools and our mission to meet that goal and to go forward. And so we're going to be looking at a lot of different things from, our facility needs, programming, the systemic changes as we go through some of the areas changes here around, as well as financial considerations. Obviously, we're working on that. Right now, we have over 50 individuals who will be on that core team, And I put it out there right now on Facebook Live. If you have interest in joining us for strategic planning, please feel free to contact my office. We'd love to have you. We actually start next Tuesday. We're going to be meeting in the Lakewood Middle School, the multi-purpose room. We're really looking to get a broad base of folks. And right now we have individuals from the community. We have many parents. We have some of these administrators, teachers, classified staff for that. So we look forward to that. But as you look at this, I mean, we've got so many things. I could have been here all night to really talk about the accomplishments of our kids and our staff members. As you see here, our kids are successful not only in our doors here, but wider. From STEM teams that are winning competitions over at the Works. We've got teams that are the league champions. We've got teachers that are awarded Teacher of the Year. We've got high-performing students academically, athletically, and all in different areas, from our intermediate school all the way up through into our high school. We've got wonderful kids, and I tell people that every single day. But we also have very successful kids. We have kids that are very, very driven, and they've got great visions of what they want to do. And it's our job, and I'm very fortunate. We get the job to be able to work with them on a daily basis and help them try to achieve those dreams. But we're very fortunate here in Lakewood. And obviously, you know, we're looking up there at the upper left, you know, the musical. And I know that just in a couple of short months, some of our youngsters that are even here are going to be involved in the next musical here. But what does the future hold? We have to say that 5-letter word, Intel. What is that going to mean for us? And we hear all this stuff. The prospects of new jobs, new infrastructure, new housing, and maybe increased enrollment. I put a question mark there because right now, truth be told, our enrollment in Lakewood is going down. Very, very small, but incrementally. But if people said to me, what do you think is going to happen? I think it's going to grow. It's a matter of when, though. It really is just a matter of when. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is the opportunities going to be available for our kids. The opportunities are going to really just expand incredibly. That's why it's critical right now for us to do strategic planning, to be able to really kind of help chart that course and be able to do that. And look at what it means to be a Lakewood graduate. And what are the things that we want our kids to have once they walk across that stage? And so our Lakewood students, they are and will make great employees. You know, we're trying to prepare them for a variety of skills and the different pathways, engaging them, helping them set goals, helping them build pathways. Because we have kids that go off to college. We have kids that go off to military. We have kids that go off to the world of work. And some of those, they do combined. They blend those when they graduate. And so we've got to help them get those skills and be ready to do that. And that's why I think also next year we're looking at really kind of digging into what a graduate of Lakewood High looks like. What do we want our kids to have? That portrait of a graduate. So that's a critical element of some of our work for next year. But we have to continue to innovate. I spoke about this at the beginning, that we have to focus in on those STEM skills, as we know that those are going to be the emerging industries of this area. And so we need to continue to do that. I think we do a really nice job so far in our school district, really focusing on those STEM pieces. This is just a sampling of the work that we do currently across our district in STEM. And notice that's from our youngest kids in K2 all the way through the high school. Focusing in on those STEM skills, those critical thinking, those design thinking skills are elements that are going to really transcend the work and the things that our kids do into the future. And so those are the things we need to continue to focus in on inside our classrooms and out. And I love the opportunities that our kids have for that. But we wouldn't be there also without the great partnerships that we have. We're in a very rich area in terms of partnerships. Industry, community, and so we've got great partners across here. Obviously our partners of our different municipalities here tonight, but also our partners in businesses. And many of these businesses will accept our kids to be able to help them and grow them, whether it's internships or apprenticeships or work of some type. And so we're very, very fortunate. And I think this list is only going to continue to grow in the next few years of the businesses that our kids will have opportunities for. So really, in summation, is this. The future is incredibly bright. It's incredibly bright for Lakewood. It's incredibly bright for our kids. I'm excited about it. I know that, we have got our jobs as educators is probably the best. We get to come in and work with youngsters on a daily basis, but try to help them get those dreams. And Lakewood, thank you for sending your best to us. But with that, the future's bright for them. It's bright for us here in Lakewood, across our 6 municipalities, and I think it's a great place. But I always like to sum it up with this, and truly now it is the case. It's Lancer time. So thank you, folks. I'm going to hand it off here to Mrs. Meisner.
Thank you, Dr. Glykoff. He said it well, the future is bright, and that is because we are blessed with amazing teachers, staff, and administrators. Thank you, sorry. But I would like to take a moment, because it's not done enough, to thank Dr. Glykoff and Mrs. Plaisted for their leadership in our district and all of the hard work that makes this possible, so thank you. We've reached the point in our program that we will hear from each community. Annually, we would like to take the opportunity to do this so that we can work in a collaborative effort that will allow us to lead and move our goals forward well-informed and prepared. We ask that you keep your update to 5 minutes, but also introduce yourself, and we will have the opportunity for questions at the end. So to start off, we would like to ask the Village of Hebron to join us on stage, or at the podium, please.
I'm Jim Layton, and I'm in my finishing my third year as a mayor of the Village of Hebron. Once again, 2022 was a challenging year for several reasons. One is that COVID was still with us. The Village of Hebron is now out of that process. I mean, the COVID thing seems to have slowed down quite a bit, and we've worked through those processes. It was kind of like a shotgun when we started. Nobody really knew what to do, and it took a minute or two to get in shape on that, so we did. Hebron remains in a favorable financial position with several projects in the planning stages that will help improve everyday life in Hebron. Financially, we are in a good shape right now. Our income tax, my thought was when COVID came into the game, we were going to have a downturn in money income. The only thing it really hurt us with was interest at the bank. And they're still, well, they're giving a little bit back now. Economic development, interest in the area is at an all-time high. Hebron Village continues to work to entice new business and is represented on several county development boards. We continue our agreement with Grow-Licking County and Neighborhood Strategies, a couple of economic development businesses. And we have also talked with additional companies about securing additional grant money and bringing Hebron new business developments. The Newark Industrial Park is full. And I can't ever remember that happening, but every building is being used now. Pulte Centrex is going to finish up this year. There'll be 208 new houses out there, and they're looking for additional property to develop in Hebron. Most of the home builders in the area see an opportunity for Hebron. We're in the 30-minute drive time to Intel, which Intel is the big grill in the room that has changed a lot of things. Now, before Intel, Hebron was busy. I think most of the communities around here were busy. We were developing some stuff, bringing new businesses in. Transcendia just put $66 million into an expansion out there, and there are several other companies in the industrial park that are doing it. That does a lot of things. One of the things it does is give the students that he turns out an opportunity to go to work somewhere and make a decent living. I mean, when I was in school, it was college. You had to go to college. Now, I'm not sure. My grandson just got into the vocational school to be an electrician. Quite frankly, I think he'll make a good living and be able to stay around here for a long time. Public safety. Our police department is a certified police department and has been the issue in my tenure as mayor that has given me the least problems. They take care of things and very quietly do their job. You know, you think Hebron's a real small, quiet, easy community, but we had SWAT in a couple, 3 times last year. My chief told me the other day, he said, you know, if it wasn't for domestic violence and theft, we wouldn't have to be here. So that's one of the things. But also, we contracted this year and joined the West Licking Fire District. The district that we had was having some issues getting a levy passed, and council directed me to find a couple of alternatives, and West Licking looked out like the best option, and we've contracted with them, and it's been a very favorable position or decision. They're a very professional, very good fire department. Personnel, the village is looking for an administrator right now. Anybody looking for a job, come on down and take a look at it for us. I'm just blown. We do need an administrator. The last one left in about 2 months ago, so we're working towards replacing him. Right now, we're doing it with the people that are in hand in the positions, and it's working out pretty well. Parks and Recreation. We have a nice Parks and Recreation program down there. We have a strong softball program. There's several fields out at Evans Park that are very nice. Baseball and disc golf. Anybody ever played disc golf? It is huge out there right now. It's really coming along. But we have football out there. We have soccer out there. I mean, we have a lot of opportunity out there, and the Evans Foundation has been gracious enough to keep that thing going and works well with us. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort out there trying to make sure that we had a good park, a nice park, and we have worked on several things out there and have put some more money in the budget to try and continue to make improvements out there. We've also talked with the Licking County Parks Group about working in conjunction with them on a couple other things. One of the things that the citizens in Hebron want is a dog park, so they can take their dog out there and let them run. And that's probably something that will happen within the next couple of years. The walking path out there is the most used, most improved thing. And it's one of the things that was, many years ago, they did kind of a guess on what was the Village of Hebron people wanted, and the walking path was the biggest, #1 thing. So we have a nice walking path out there. Public Works, water and water reclamation. We're sitting on a lot of water, getting ready to put another well in. When we get to the situation we have now with Intel and all these people coming in, there's a couple of 3 or 4 things that they really get interested in looking at. One thing is that we're within a day's drive of almost 80% of 60% of the population of the United States. That's a plus for them. We have good employees. We don't have enough of them, but we do have good employees. When Transcendia was in here, their CEO was in here, and I just went to him flat and said, how come Licking County? He said, well, I can get anywhere in the United States easy. He said, you got Interstate 70 out there. You got lots of water. And while you don't have enough of them, our employees at this facility are very good. And he had 70 facilities across the world, so I was impressed with that. We recently have done are in the process of doing our comprehensive plan, redoing that. We updated our zoning stuff a couple years ago. We're in a position that we were ready for Intel before it got here, and that's made it a little bit simpler for us. Product coming into us. I mean, we're having trouble. Ductile iron pipe, which is what we use for our water lines, and there's like a year's wait on it right now. I mean, it may not be that much right now, but a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, when we were trying to put some stuff together, they said, nah, you're not going to see it for a while. We ordered a police cruiser in January last year. In July, they sent us a note that said, hey, we're building it in July. And we got it at the end of the year, and it was supposed to be one of those Ford Interceptors. It was supposed to be white, came in black. Said, whoops. So we called and said, hey, can you get us a white one? Can't do it. There aren't any about there. So we immediately ordered another one because it'll take another year to get one. It's just been an interesting year, and I don't think, you know, the economy in the area is not too bad. pretty good. Everybody talks about inflation, which is a problem. Unemployment in Licking County, the last I heard, was like 2.8%, which is non-existent. And there's a lot of places that that's not the case. Hebron Village is committed to supporting the Lakewood School District. I'm a Lakewood student, so graduated in 1969. So you see what they turn out, but don't take that against them. We realize one of the most important assets we have are the students that he turns out, our kids. That's the next generation. And oh boy, Intel comes in and all the businesses that are coming in around them. I mean, what kind of opportunities is that for the people getting out of this school and going on to a secondary school now? That's huge, huge. You know, when I graduated from high school, you had to go to work for Kaiser, Rockwell, or Owens to be set for life. And then, as it turned out, that wasn't the case. They ended up going, you know, Rockwell went out of business, Owens tried to get bought out, and Kaiser's not exactly what it was before. Opportunities in the area are huge, and our students are going to have the opportunity for top paying positions in the community. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Layton. Now I would like to invite the Village of Buckeye Lake to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Glykoff, for inviting me to be here, Mrs. Miser, and the rest of the Lakewood community. My name is Jareen Peterson. I'm in my second year as mayor of Buckeye Lake Village, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm a strong advocate for education. I did not graduate from Lakewood, nor am I from this area. I came from the southern end of Columbus, better known a little bit to the east of the German Village area. I did go to graduate from Columbus South High School, and that high school still stands today. Buckeye Lake Village, we are unique. We have a lake. We have a dam that the state of Ohio put a lot of money in a couple of years ago, and everybody panicked because the lake was going to be drained. Well, it wasn't drained completely, but it did kind of tap our toes a little bit for about 5 years. They did finish the dam a little ahead of schedule, and we are inundated with those on bicycles that like to walk, the nature lovers. It's a 4.1 mile dam just to go from the North Shore ramp to Leibs Island. And then, of course, remember, one has to go back from where one started, so you have another 4.1 miles. One of the unique things about our lake is we have a place everywhere along the way to stop for a cold beverage or an ice cream, and that's appealing to many. As far as the village itself, we've started our infrastructure. If you haven't noticed, Englefield Oil is putting a new gas station in. There'll be a new Duke and Duchess soon. We have a new bridge that is still being completed. We are putting sidewalks and curbs in. We're trying to reduce down the size of our median. We're working hard with stormwater, which is a large problem in all of our area here in Licking County. So we are advocating for that. We have 3 stages. Our second stage of the sidewalk and curbs will start sometime later in 2023. One of the things I would like to encourage with your young people here at the school is never forget that getting your hands dirty may give you a long, long retirement plan that the rest of us wish we had. The electricians, the plumbers, the concrete movers, the dump truck, the people who run the semis up and down from east to west. We're an interconnection for the state of Ohio to the west of the country to the east of the country. We segment many parts, and we should all be proud of what we have here. Buckeye Lake is just one small component where we'd like people to get off, rest, enjoy, and relax. I helped the young people this summer with our park. We have Ryan Braden Park. Ryan Braden Park is one that a lot of people who live in the community don't even know that we have. There is a lovely ball diamond there. One of the things in our comprehensive plan is to create a walking nature path through that area, and we hope to connect along with Bike Buckeye Lake to extend the bike path, getting our bikers off of these main highways that are so desperately dangerous, and interconnect them through the back ways and through the wood line so that there's safety. Dr. Glykoff talked about safety. One of the big things in the village of Buckeye Lake is safety, and I'm very proud to say that we also have a great police department. That wasn't the case a few years ago, but my predecessor took care of that, and I couldn't be prouder. Chief Hargett does a great job. We now have 6 officers. One of those is a K-9 unit. We're very blessed to have the K-9 unit, which came to us from Somerset. We also have a fantastic fire department, and I might say today, it's not exactly the most usual, but we are soon to have our first lady fire chief. Our fire chief has done a tremendous job in making sure that all of our shifts are covered. At most, we might have a few hours break, but we are a volunteer fire department. We're proud of that department. And with the growth that we're seeing that's coming our way, we will need a new fire department building. The building we're in right now cannot even hold the regulation fire trucks. We have to use the shorter trucks, but we get the job done equally as well. We're in the process right now of working with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, with Mark Hoffines, he's our park director, with being able to give them assistance with patrolling our dam and out into the lakes, because we can be there within a 2-minute or less time frame. That has been escalated to the state level. They make the final decisions, and I hope that we get that done rather quickly. As far as intel, I believe that we are an opportunity zone for the intel people. The average age of those people are going to be anywhere from 30 to 35. Maybe they have not started their families yet, and we certainly hope that they will come to this area in Licking County to have that home and that experience where their children can go to the finest high school and the middle school and the elementary school, and that's Lakewood. Thank you very much, and I, again, thank you for inviting me to come tonight and speak to you.
Thank you, Mayor Peterson. We appreciate your comments. And now I would like to invite Licking Township.
I'm John Holman. I'm the chairman of the Licking Township Trustees. And I'd like to thank Dr. Glykoff and the board for inviting all of us here tonight. We're proud to have Lakewood schools right in the heart of our township. I think we're the only one that can say that, and so I'm going to take advantage of it. We're very proud to have you. So. I'll try not to bore you with some statistics I put together. Our audio-visual department wasn't available, so I apologize. Licking Township has an annual budget of approximately $5 million. Our expenditures in 2022 total approximately $1.7 million. So we aren't bankrupt by any stretch. We employ 4 elected officials, a full-time fire chief, 2 full-time road personnel, and 26 part-time fire and EMS personnel. 1 part-time zoning inspector, a part-time zoning clerk, a total of 35 personnel throughout our township. Our road department is responsible for maintaining 41 miles throughout the township, and that means clearing them all winter long so the buses can get through. We plow snow, we mow along those roads, we replace culverts, clean the ditches out, clean up trees that have fallen down. But again, one of our objectives for the road department is to keep the roadways safe and passable so the EMS, the fire department, and the school buses can travel as well as the residents. So we take that portion of our job very seriously. We manage and maintain 4 township cemeteries. We only have 1 active cemetery. It's something that kind of goes unnoticed and unspoken, but it is the responsibility of the township to maintain cemeteries. This past year, we've been talking about growth. We issued 82 zoning permits throughout our township, which is pretty consistent with what we've done the last couple of years. We have not seen any downturn in construction or the economy of our township. It's still flourishing. I happen to be a zoning inspector way back a few years ago, and I was kind of proud. I set a record of permits that were written, and it was a total of 45. We wrote 82 this year, so I wasn't as good as I thought. Dr. Glykoff mentioned the $1.6 million in grants and scholarships, and it kind of hit home. You don't get those grants and scholarships handed to you, and I realize that. We work very hard. Our fire department is very diligent in applying for we don't have scholarships, but applying for grants. Our road department, this past year, we were awarded an Ohio Public Works grant for a total of $242,000 to resurface roads in our township. That number, to put it into perspective, we typically spend around $100,000 out of our general fund or our road department fund to resurface roads. So you can see that we received 2.5 times our annual budget on 1 grant alone. We were able to resurface the entire Misty Meadows area, and we also have money to resurface Harbor Hills once the water project has been completed, and I'll touch on that a little further along. But so that $242,000 will go toward finishing Harbor Hills resurfacing project out there. We received a total of $520,000 in ARPA funds between 2021 and 2022. Of those monies, $174,000 went to resurfacing 1 mile of township roads, and $261,000 was contracted for the purchase of a new ambulance for Licking Township. Now, that's a little, that $261,000 for an ambulance seems like a lot of money, and it was, but we're happy to say that we have that squad now in operation, and the chief said we need another squad, which we have 2. So we gave him the green light to go and get bids, and long story short, we just agreed to purchase another squad almost identical to the one that we got 2 years ago for a total of $316,000. So you referred to inflation, cost of goods, cost of doing business, it hits home. We received a $500 more grant for our road department for safety equipment. Our fire department applied for various grants for radios and gear and miscellaneous equipment, and they were awarded about $18,000 worth of grant money for that type of equipment. This may seem insignificant, but it's a part of our community. We provide 3 recycling bins for the people in our township, and I have to admit that other people kind of sneak over from neighboring townships, which we don't mind. It's all for a good cause. But we recycled last year, 2022, 85,310 pounds of recyclable material. So we're trying to do our part for the green economy and the litter situation throughout the township. So I'd like to talk just briefly about our fire department. I'm responsible for the fire department. Each of the trustees have an area of responsibility, and I've been blessed to supervise the fire department. So naturally, I'm a little biased. I'm a little prejudiced, but we built a new fire station in 2018 without any levy money. It's completely paid for. It was paid for before we ever took occupancy. And we're extremely proud of that. As I said earlier, we bought a new squad in 21. It was $232,000. We have on order another squad that's $316,000. $260,000 of that was funded by ARPA funds. The balance we're paying for out of our fire budget. In 2022, our fire department went on 1,540 runs throughout our township. I should qualify that. We partner with Franklin Township. We provide them some limited fire and EMS service in Franklin Township and likewise in Bowling Green Township. So those 1,540 runs was primarily in Licking Township, but there was also runs there from Bowling Green and Franklin. That was a 25% increase over 2021. We have consistently been averaging about 1,200 runs per year, about 100 a month. And we started out this past year in January, and it just continued to climb throughout the year. So we set a record there. The fire department, I know they take great pride in coming to the schools up here and going over the fire and safety programs with the students. They do that every year. We provide, this isn't so much for the school, but we provide an Easter egg hunt at Jacksontown Community Church there, and the kids climb all over the fire truck and they really enjoy that. But we try to do those kinds of things. And talking about climbing on the fire truck, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fire trucks that bring all these championship teams back to the community. So we're happy to do those sorts of things. I might add that we're here for all the home football games. And again, we do get some assistance from some of the other surrounding fire departments if they're available. But we're very happy to do what we can for the district and the students here at Lakewood. And like Jim, I went to school here. You can see we both got gray hair. I have to admit I was a couple years ahead of Jim. But my kids went to school here. My grandkids are going to school here. I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to have great grandkids going to school here, but it's certainly a school system and an area to be proud of, and I think it speaks very highly of the caliber of people that live and work in this community. So, in closing, I'd just like to briefly, Dr. Glykoff mentioned something about growth in the district, and this is one of those things that it's hard to put a number on. And he and I have had some conversations about this, but Licking Township lost about 230 some acres this past year to annexation to Heath. It's my understanding that Lakewood's still going to be able to retain the students, and how large those developments are going to be, the numbers have changed a couple of times, but I think it's safe to say that there's going to easily be over 300 homes in both those developments totally. The one development is proposing some condos in addition to just residential, as well as senior assisted living. The other part of the annexation question is we don't know if there's another shoe ready to drop. We don't like losing the revenue as a township, although we do lose some of the responsibility of maintaining the roads and so forth. But that's another political issue I won't get into. But the one thing I did want to mention, this is at the responsibility of Licking County and the wastewater department, and it's part of the ARPA funds that the Licking County Commissioners received, and it involves water upgrades in the Avondale area, and they're doing it in 2 phases. And the first phase, it's my understanding, is pretty much completed. The meters are set and they're ready to begin hookup. The second phase is hopefully to be completed at the end of this year. The total expenditure for that project alone, and again, it has no funding coming from our township, but it's $3 million. The next project that's currently under review, and it is going to happen, is Harbor Hills. And the completion date for Harbor Hills, now when I say we're going to be doing some resurfacing, there's some township roads and there's some county roads in Harbor Hills. We won't be resurfacing county roads, we're just going to resurface township roads. But the water project we're trying to coordinate and dovetail with our project to resurface, so they don't go through and dig up roads that we've resurfaced. And hopefully that's all going to come together here in the next year or so. But the dollar figure for Harbor Hills is $5 million. And the last phase is the Edgewater Beach area, and it's approximately 2 years down the road to completion. And I just spoke with the gentleman that heads up the water and wastewater department a couple of weeks ago, and they had engineers doing assessments at that particular time. So it's a little premature. I don't have a lot of information there other than the total dollar amount for that project is $3 million. So the quick math in my Lakewood advanced math is $11 million that's being spent on water upgrade in those 3 areas, and it's totally funded by our county commissioners through ARPA funding. So that pretty well sums up the points that I wanted to make. Again, I thank Dr. Glykoff and the board for inviting us all, and I have to admit that you had some very enlightening statistics on your screen there, and I wish the district and the school and the staff the best for the year of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. We appreciate your comments and your updates this evening. Last but not least, I would like to invite Union Township to provide their update.
I'm sure everybody would like to get home to their families, so I will be as brief as possible. My name is Roger Start. I'm in my second year as trustee with Union Township. I would like to thank Dr. Glykoff as well as the rest of the school board for the invitation to come and participate in the State of the Schools. 2022 was a busy year in Union Township. As Mayor Layton mentioned before, the Refugee Canyon Joint Fire District was mutually dissolved between the Village of Hebron and the township. The township is currently being served by West Licking Fire Department south of the railroad tracks and Granville Township to the north. Unfortunately, our 4 mil permanent fire levy was defeated by 3 votes in November. The township has decided to put on the ballot in May a 7 mil 5-year temporary levy. This will also replace the 3 mil levy expiring in 2023. If this levy is defeated, the township will more than likely be forced to join the West Licking Fire District, just as Hebron has, for the entire township at an effective rate of around 9 mils. The township hired in early 2022 the Montrose Group to perform an economic development study. I want to thank again Dr. Glykoff and Mrs. Meisner for participating in the Educational Stakeholders Focus Group. The study was recently completed and is now on the township website for review. I would encourage everyone here and participating online to take the time and look it over. The township also recently hired Holly Matty with Crossroads Community Planning to update our comprehensive plan. I would like to thank again Dr. Glykoff for agreeing to participate as a representative of Lakewood Schools in this project as well. The township enacted in 2022 a 10-year 75% TIF, which as it is currently written, brings 25% in additional tax revenue to the school district on any new development in the TIF area. And lastly, the biggest news in Union Township for many years. The township, along with Southwest Licking Water and Sewer and the city of Heath, has formed a joint economic development district to bring water and sewer to the Luray area. This has potential to bring the greatest economic development growth to the township since the Newark Industrial Park. The township has had many meetings with Dr. Glykoff and Mrs. Meisner to discuss the short-term and long-term benefits this growth can have on the Lakewood School District. The township is looking forward to continuing these conversations. Thank you.
So I just want to take an opportunity to thank all of our municipalities for coming and sharing the input in what you guys are doing. So thank you, because really it's great that we are truly a connected community here. And our kids, across our 110 square miles, we've got a lot of ground, but also our great families and kids there. So I'll just leave it as an opportunity to ask questions, whether of me or the townships or just across the board, or if there's anything that we want to ask in these last few minutes. Yes. Yeah, I think that, Mrs. Meisner and I spoke about this. We really wanted to do this, and we talked about it as a board. This was a great opportunity. So we hope to continue to do this kind of right this time of year. And I think as the next few years progress, we'll have even much more topical things to speak about, that's for sure. So yes. Other questions? Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank our folks who are watching on Facebook Live and just the opportunity here, because we do. And I think that's the great word that I heard continuously tonight is opportunities. Opportunities for our kids, opportunities for our area, opportunities for all of us. And so we're right in the middle of it. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for all of our people who shared tonight, and have a good evening.